You are on BBC Six Music, and I am lucky enough to be joined by my guests today, Lily Allen and Freema Agyeman. Welcome, both of you. How are you?
Good. Good. Thank you for having us.
Tolerably well. Marvellous. Good to have you with us. And it's in aid of the new show Dreamland. So it's available to watch 6th of April. I think it starts on Now TV and on Sky as well.
Yep.
Freema, tell us a little bit about the show. What's the story?
Well, it is a dark comedy, and it's predominantly about this female-centric household, and looking at all of their relationships and dynamics, but it's more specifically like examining those multi-generational female relationships.
So it's one family in Margate, and you two play sisters, but the dynamics are pretty complex, aren't they?
Yeah, there's 4 sisters, and so we learn quite early that the relationship between Mel and Trish, the characters we play, is very complicated, and they're either utterly in love with each other or just completely allergic to each other.
So like sisters.
Exactly. I've never heard of that dynamic before. Lily, this is your first acting role on TV. Why did you want to take this project on?
Well, first of all, it's produced by Merman, which is Sharon Horgan's company, and she's done brilliant things like Motherland and Bad Sisters, and that attracted me, I guess, first. But also, just timing-wise, I kind of live in New York at the moment, but the father of my children lives here in England, and so in the summertime I bring my kids back to spend time with him. This was being shot in the summer, so it was just very convenient.
It was happenstance. It all kind of came together perfectly.
Yeah.
Freema, am I right in thinking that you'd been spending quite a lot of time in the States before you came to this role as well? And actually that when you heard about the part of Trish, you got in touch with your agents and were like, oh my God, I've heard about this role. I've got to play it. Well,
yes, I was working in New York and living there for 4 years on a show that I was doing. And then I was just missing England and all things English. I don't know, we talk about this and Lily's like, oh yeah, I'll just heading back to New York. And I'm like, yeah, I love it too, but I don't know, it was time for me to come home. And then
you just wanted more sarcasm and grey skies
and a good orderly queue and a nice pub, thank you. Yes, and so I came home and I was sent actually the script. Lovely Jane Bell, who was the producer on our show, she threw my name in the hat because I've not done comedy before. And if she hadn't, I think, have put my name in there, I don't think I would have been necessarily considered. So then I got sent the script, and then I was like sending effusive emails to my team going like, gotta get in there. Yeah.
And it's perfect homecoming, really, because there's nothing more quintessentially English than a seaside town.
Right.
And it's set in Margate. But Margate's kind of like, it's the hippest seaside town in the UK. Obviously, it has this new kind of generation, I suppose, and this new outlook. Does the show reflect that? Tell me about those dynamics.
Yeah, for sure. There's actually it's kind of like part of the storyline is the sort of gentrification of Margate. It definitely touches on that. But yeah, I don't think there's a divide, because I think that people in Margate seem to be, or on the surface, seem to be very welcoming to us London folk. But yeah, there's definitely people that have been in Margate forever and people that can't afford to live in London anymore and have moved to Margate.
And I wonder about your character, Freema, because I think she's the one, Trish, who she's very into manifesting and all that kind of stuff, isn't she? Is it Manifestival that she's working on when we meet her?
Yes.
Which is a manifesting festival. So that sounds quite kind of nouveau Margate, even though her family have been there forever.
Yeah, that is an interesting point, actually. And I think for all of our characters, we did go on quite a journey with them. We had rehearsal time at the beginning where we were able to kind of explore and play a little bit more. And I certainly think in the earlier drafts as well, she was probably more of a hippie in that way. But then, what I love about it is you get all these multifacets of each person. She can be that, but also she is a proud Margatian. And then she is kind
I've
of...
never heard Margatian. That's so good.
I mean, the other option is probably Martian, so you wouldn't really... We wouldn't really go there.
And she loves where she's from. She loves her family. She's proud of being from Margate and who she is. But then also, the show is examining social mobility, and she is trying to get off the estate as well as, not not trying to be dismissive of where she's from, but just trying to.
Whereas Mel, my character, I think is.
Yes,
she's like,
yes.
I really don't want to be from Margate.
So she's kind of scarpered, and then she returns.
She fails miserably in Paris. She went to Paris to go and work in fashion and messes up very badly. And then finds herself back in Margate, but she's very resentful about it. She doesn't want to be there at all. And she's, everything that sort of comes with it. There's a lot of eye rolling, and she'd rather be anywhere else than Margate.
And tell me about performing together and playing sisters, because like you say, you've got the two characters have that kind of love-hate relationship. How do you build those dynamics?
Well, Freema's very method. She was just really horrible to me. No, I'm joking. She was.
I mean, I will say it for you. I can't speak for you, but it being your first foray into that world, and for it being my first comedy, there were moments where there was so much banter, and it felt like we were at camp having a good time. But there were certain moments where I was like, because the script is so good at flitting between comedy and drama so quickly, that there were moments where I was like, right, okay, now I've got to try and pull some out of the bag, and I've just been having a right old giggle with everybody, and so then I take myself off and sit in a corner and just be like, think of something sad. But I just found that as one of the things that impressed me the most about the writing as well, how it's able to tackle such important issues but do it with that laughter and comedy all the way through it as well.
All right, I'm going to play a track. You guys stay with me. It's wonderful to have you, Lily Allen and Freema Agyeman. We're going to talk more BBC Six Music, where Lauren Verne, me, is joined by Lily Allen and Freema Agyeman. Thank you so much, guys, for staying with me. We've been talking about Dreamland, but I do want to ask a little bit about the work that you've been doing more generally. Lily, obviously, this is the first TV acting role, as we were talking about, but you've had so much success on stage preceding this with 222, A Ghost Story. Why did you want to pursue acting at this point in your life?
Oh, gosh, it's hard to say. I mean, you know, I write songs with some sort of frequency. I find the elephant in the room is that the political climate is really difficult at the moment for creative output. I feel quite stifled in terms of writing music and writing songs, and even just communicating through social media and stuff.
What you mean in terms of what you can say and expressing yourself?
Yeah. Totally. And I feel like the subject matters that I want to tackle in my music, or even just like talking to people quite directly, which I always had done through my social media channels, I just become like a sort of lightning rod for
criticism,
the other side. And I don't really, I'm too sensitive. And I think, you know, in the last sort of 4 years, I've been sober, you know, and I feel like I'm actually quite a shy person. I've always relied on those things to kind of prop me up and to get me through those situations. And but yeah, leading onto the stage, I feel like I get to explore the same subject matters, but I don't have to take responsibility for them. You know, somebody else gets to write them.
But it's interesting, that, isn't it? It's a sort of safe way back into that creativity. But I think you did say recently that you've been writing some more music. That's still ongoing.
I mean, I'll always write music because I love it. But I think that I'm definitely more comfortable with writing music for other people or for characters than I am for myself. I just feel a little bit too exposed, and I just. I don't know if I can handle it anymore. It's
interesting, that one, isn't it? Because you kind of think, especially in music, there's such a long tradition of songwriters playing the unreliable narrator. You know, you think immediately about someone like Randy Newman. Like, he could write a song about anything, and people understand mostly that it's satire. You know, they kind of get that he's exploring ideas. Do you think we've lost that a bit then?
I do, but I think that Randy Newman is a white male of a certain age, and actually you can express your feelings and thoughts more than you can if you're a slightly younger woman or a person of colour or whatever. You know, I just think that it's difficult landscape to navigate these days.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring the tone down.
Beautifully expressed.
Yeah, it's but yeah, I do. Ultimately what we do with acting is similar in the sense that we're just telling stories, you know, and I just feel like it takes the edge off slightly if somebody else is telling the story in terms of like writing the dialogue, but I still get to have fun with it and be creative.
I think that's it. You've got to find a way of working that allows you to feel free to express yourself. Freema, I was asking you about being in the US, and you've worked so successfully over there. I mean, listeners will obviously know you from your roles in Doctor Who, Law and Order, but you've been working in the Matrix Resurrections over there, and New Amsterdam as well. What's it like working on those kind of big, high-profile projects in the States?
Well, before I answer that, actually, I do want to say, talking about taking the edge off it, that this one starts into the acting world by going on stage in the West End. Like, that ain't terrifying in itself.
That is a very good point, actually. Yeah. I love
just
that.
like went in the shallow end, not.
Lily's like, I just feel like I'm going to get so much hate. So what I thought I would do is just go stand on the stage.
It's amazing. It's actually remarkable. But you've got this fearlessness about you, actually. Not to say that you're not as well, experiencing everything else, but I think that also doesn't surprise me that you would go in the deep end there. But no, it's brilliant. Well done. Yes, it is. I forgot the question.
I was asking about working in the States. You said before that you felt you kind of got homesick and wanted to come back.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what? I likened it to the other day. It's like, if you go on a brilliant holiday somewhere and you're lying there on the last day, no, I don't want this holiday to end. This is the best time of my life. And then you go home, put your key in the door, get in your bed and go, oh, there's no place like home. But it doesn't mean you didn't love that holiday. Sure. It's just they all just fulfill different, or live in your world and fulfill you in different ways. And I would love to continue that. So I've been kind of working exclusively for 10 years over in the States. And I was grateful to learn in the end that a set is a set is a set. Because at first when I went over, I just thought, this is unnavigable. Everything's so big. And there's so much of it, and there's so many people involved, and I don't know who. If I speak to somebody, I don't know who they are, and if they've told me, I can't remember. And there was just a lot of things to get used to. But then the community and the dialogue of a set is the same, and I think that's something that's so reassuring. So that I think it enables us to go and work all over the world, because you feel like there is a community that you'll be embraced into. So I did enjoy it.
Well, listen, I'm loving having you two on the show, and also loving the dynamics between the two of you. I know that the listeners are going to be appreciating that, and can't wait to check out the show Dreamland. It's out on the 6th of April on Sky Atlantic. And now, thank you so much, Lily and Freema, for coming to talk to us about it.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, anytime.